Something we try to do every year specifically is take a treasured childhood memory and absolutely shit all over it. This is Shelby Bower as Linus Van Pelt, ruining the famous monologue from A Charlie Brown Christmas by annotating it.
And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. That means fucking them. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. I just said came upon. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. Yeah, good luck with that. Like you wouldn't shit your pants if the angel of the Lord came upon you while you were fucking a sheep? Fear not, for behold, I bring unto you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people, even the sheep fuckers.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast of the Chicago Fringe Festival, the second ever podcast. This is Vincent Lacey, your man on the mic. I wear many hats for the Chicago Fringe Festival, one of which is executive director. We're hoping to bring you these podcasts intermittently in the months leading up to the Chicago Fringe 2014. And maybe at this point you're asking, what in the Sam hell is the Chicago Fringe Festival? Well, I can tell you that. This is Chicago's premier, unjuried, uncensored performing arts festival. We produce 50 shows over 4 weekends right in the heart of Jefferson Park, a northwest neighborhood of Chicago, in about 5 venues. And if that sounds crazy, it absolutely is. We've been working diligently behind the scenes to bring you the 5th year of Chicago Fringe. But for now, if you want to see what's going on, what the latest news is, check out chicagofringe.org or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/ChicagoFringe. Check out what we're doing. Now, in the spirit of uncensored and unjuried performance, we bring you today's guest. Oh, goodness, today's guest. They've been part of the Chicago Fringe Festival since its very inception in 2010 when we did our first show. They're the self-proclaimed villains of Chicago Fringe. They've written this to me in personal emails way too many times. Please welcome the League of Miscreants. Hi, League of Miscreants.
Hi-ho.
Hello.
Vincent, your eminence, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Let me introduce you guys and the titles that we made up just now because you actually don't have any. We have the Miscreant-in-Chief, Alan Brouilette.
Vinnie.
He's nodding. The Elder Statesman of Ass Fuckery, Bob Lindley.
That would be me.
Hi, Bob. And the Mistress of Musical Direction,
Oh, no.
Janet
no.
Paliatka.
No. Just underemployed.
Did you want to change your title?
My title? Well, I certainly.
Mistress de Miscreant.
What would you call it? A Jane of all trades? You're not a jack of all trades. A Janet of all trades. A Jill of all trades. A Jill of all trades. I like that. Miscreant Jill of all trades.
Well, speaking of underemployed, what the fuck are you guys doing here right now?
This was your idea.
I don't know about anybody else here. I'm calling it work.
Well, I asked about the unemployment question because I imagine that you guys come up with your shows just sort of sitting around, getting intoxicated or
actually,
not doing
most of that would be
anything.
just him.
Yeah.
We're already.
He spends a lot of time sitting around just getting
mid-season
intoxicated.
radio form. Bob is pointing at me.
Yeah, Bob, you have to say who it is.
I'm glad we're filming these things. This,
Should I start stripping now?
the three of us are particularly at large. I do some contract work. Bob does the occasional play. Janet tries. Janet, what are you doing now? Little temp nannying?
Temp nannying but
voice
mainly
acting?
voice acting is the official thing. That's where I get the largest percentage of my meager income.
I say we clap that. We'll give that one a clap. It's hard breaking in the voiceover industry.
Yes, it is.
It's tough. It's tough, and I've actually started doing it when I met Bob through the Fringe Festival. I met Bob, and he had been doing voice acting for
several years.
Yes, at that point, and
a while.
Excuse me, and we had talked about it. And I was at a point in my life and career where I was looking to do something new and thought about voice acting. And he was the one who hooked me up with the person who did my demo and did coaching with him and eventually got signed on to a few agencies.
Nice.
And have been doing the work since then.
Nice.
So it's, thank you. Fist bump.
There's actual talent on the League of Miscreants.
No.
We just have business cards.
So you have business cards?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Damn. I need to get me
How
some
did
of
this
those.
whole group come together? Explain. Well, first of all, how many of you are there technically? Is it a rotating cast of like?
It's a floating rep company.
Eight?
I'd say there's probably 25 or 30 of us
Get
at
outta
this
here,
point. Yeah,
25 or
that have
30.
been on stage. Well, we've done 4 fringe festivals, and then we've put on all of the shows with the exception of the most recent. We did the Roast of Piglet the first year, and then we went and did the Roast of Piglet at Gorilla Tango, which is a black box theater on the north side, who I think
Right.
a lot of people are familiar with. One of we'll get to it, but one of your tech volunteers actually hooked us up with them. The next year was the Roast of Santa. Then we did that again at Christmas time because doing it in that yoga studio loft theater in 95-degree temperatures, it wasn't terribly Christmassy that we were all sweating like horses.
Oh, it was ridiculous. All of us
then
were.
send
It's
it-
nice,
Also,
it's nice that
festival.
you add the S's to the whore thing.
Chicago Fringe Festival. Don't come for the air conditioning.
Right. That was the rough-hewn seats and the lack of air conditioning. It was like an Amish summer stock production.
Hey, your venues have gotten better
We've
every
gotten
time
nicer,
that you've
We have.
performed.
Hat
at
tip
Chicago
Rachel
Fringe.
Stalins. We will give her that. I've seen
Yeah.
her fighting for us.
Yep.
I'm not ignorant of these things. How we came together. Actually, the first year of the Fringe Festival, Adrienne Gulden, who I don't recall her role with you guys,
She's like
but
business
she's been in at the
manager.
beginning. She's been a friend for 25 years, and she was concerned, as I gather was the rest of the Fringe staff, that they would not have enough entries into the lotto to cover.
We had 200 entries.
The very first year, it was expressed to me as, months before
Sure.
the lottery, we're afraid we won't get enough. Will you put in to do something? We were the 4th alternate. And when they did the drawing in March, we were the 4th alternate. I washed my hands of the matter. She came to me on something like June 23rd and said, well, you're in.
This is for a show on what date?
August.
September 1st-ish,
September?
late
Yeah.
August.
Late August. It was.
So that was more of a lead time than you guys usually use on your.
Yeah, well, look, we realized that 5 weeks lead time is really pretty solid for us.
Yeah.
We've actually tried to shorten it a little bit lately because one of the things that happens, unless you're a real hardcore professional, which none of us are, is that when you do comedy, you can over-rehearse it real easily.
Sure.
And the material ceases to be funny to you and starts seeming like somber remarks you might make to someone who's just lost a relative. So it's no fun for us. And then if the audience is dead for whatever reason, because it can't be that the material isn't funny, then you've got no energy.
that
Whereas
can't
if
be.
we're all up on stage cracking each other up, we're going to pick the crowd up on that wave. That's easy.
It's one of my favorite moments every show that we've done. And having done the Fringe every year, and even when we go over to Gorilla Tango, but really with the Fringe, because the shows are new, and the first cast read always goes swimmingly, and we are practically pissing ourselves with laughter hearing everybody do their monologues or their songs for the first
That
time.
also has a lot to do with the alcohol that's being consumed.
Well, that too. But the thing is, the first time we read through the show, we're all enjoying the hell out of it, and we are laughing hysterically. And usually by our tech rehearsal, we're sitting there and we're like, oh God, do I really have to listen to this again? Do I have to do this shitty voice again? I'm sorry, are we allowed to curse?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. All right, good.
No.
Fuck shit ass
Whoops.
bitch.
We wouldn't be involved.
That's
Maybe
true.
do
We
that.
wouldn't be here. But the thing is, it gets to a point where you've done it so many times and you've rehearsed it so many times that it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And it always comes to that point, and then Alan comes to us and he's like, okay, do you guys remember the first time we did a read through?
Sure.
This is funny. And we all were like, oh yeah, that's right.
We've
It is
started
funny.
even at the first read through, stopping at the end and saying, all right, drop a pin in this. Remember how you feel right now, because you're not going to feel this way in a month.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
And
think
it-
everybody struggles with that process
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit.
Oh
if
yeah,
You're doing
and it never comes back until
comedy and
you
stuff.
actually do it in front of an audience. And the first time, and every show, and it might just be me as a performer too. You're scared shitless until you're on stage and you finally get a laugh. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then you relax into it, and it's like, let's go.
And once you get that first laugh, you need them.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you'll do anything to
Anything.
get them.
There is something
that's-
very seductive about it.
That's often the process in like a Second City or something like that, when they're improvising scenes or coming up with stuff and they find something in the moment and that's really funny. And then they have to remember, like, okay, we're going to beat this show out, and we're going to have to do it 1,000 more times in the next few months. Can we remember to keep it funny every time. It's not easy to do, and I don't think people really get that unless they've been in that process before.
No, and it
doesn't spring fully formed from the head of Zeus like the comedy.
At some point, when you decide you want to do a special edition podcast, I can give you an hour and a half on comedy is 10,000 times harder than drama. Anybody can go up on stage and say, I have cancer and get a standing ovation. Yeah. Funny's hard.
Funny's real hard.
And really, with this show, our shows especially, when you have so many different performers on stage doing something, and they're all funny. Everybody who's on stage doing something is funny, but each night and each performance, one performer or another is either going to bomb or they're going to rocket out of the goddamn seats. And it's so hard when you're doing something and one night you kill the audience and they're just rolling, laughing their asses off, and then the next night, nothing. And we've had shows, not with the Fringe, but we've had other shows where the entire show was just a train wreck.
Just flat.
Just like, we all won.
A train wreck, I think, gives the wrong impression for what you're going for. We did everything right. Yeah. And it just didn't work. And sometimes you're going to run into that. Yeah. That happens. One of the important discoveries we've made with the cast, and what we do is the first 3 shows. The 4th was a departure. We'll get to that.
Why don't you explain, the
first
Alan,
3 shows we did roast.
Let
me give you the backstory. A good friend of ours had a then 3-year-old who came home one day from nursery school and said, I had a fight with my friend Michael today. And
can I ask you a question real quick?
Of course.
Is this happening in real time in June of 2010? Like when you're trying to think
this
up the show?
This joke had been around for years.
Oh, okay. The joke had been around for
years. He's 10 now.
Yeah.
So, probably 2014.
It would have been 5 or 6.
Yeah. 2007, Gabriel came home from nursery school and told his mother, who is one of us, Michael and I had a fight today. We were roasting Piglet, and I said when he was done, he would be a pork. And Michael said he would be a beef. Mama, is Piglet a pork or a beef if you roast him? And while she was coping with this stuffed piglet question, we immediately picked up and ran with the idea of Winnie the Pooh standing at a Friars Club lectern with a big cigar and a martini talking about fucking Piglet in the ass. And that hovered around, and then when Adrian called and said, okay, you guys are up, you got 5 weeks, what are you going to do? We dusted off the roast of Piglet, took Rabbit, Owl, Tigger, Eeyore, the entire 100-acre wood cast.
Yeah, me!
And roasted Piglet. Shannon Ennis is, I've known Shannon for 25 years. She's about 4'11". She looks like a Campbell's Soup kid and has a mouth like Sam Kinison. And was a perfect Piglet ambush. Janet was Kanga. Shelby, who you earlier may have heard or you are about to hear reading a Linus monologue from the following year, was Rue. Bob was Winnie the Pooh, who also served as the roast master. You'll hear some of his material on this podcast later. And it was sort of a hit and sort of a success, but it was a tremendous fucking amount of fun.
Let's play that first clip. Let's play that first clip from the Roasted Piglet. Tell us what it's going to be exactly.
That would be Winnie the Pooh introducing himself as the roast master and sort of setting the whole process in motion.
Cool. This is Winnie the Pooh setting the stage for the Roasted Piglet.
Hi, I'm Winnie the Pooh, a bear of very little brain, but also a bear of enormous cock, and I will be your roast master tonight. I was thinking about how to introduce all the guys, and I sat down for a little me time with a honey pot and a big jar of honey. And I thought, what would A.A. Milne do? And turning to his good book, I found my answer. Allow me to introduce by using his own words from beyond the grave. You parents in the audience, you can look these up. You'll never use me as a bedtime story again. Off we go. Ow! Oh, bother! That's what I was taught to say. Oh, bother. Whenever I want to say, what a brutal-ass fucker life is, I just say, oh, bother. So whenever you hear Winnie the Pooh say, oh, bother, you know what he really means is, what a brutal-ass fucker life is. Enjoy watching my movies with your children, folks.
Boy, that was a good one. I like that. I like that quite a bit.
It's funny how much, oh, bother being translated into whatever.
Well, that's going to be later.
That's later.
That's going to, yeah.
Oh no.
That's probably in that clip. In case you can't tell, folks, we're making this up on the fly.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
The oh bother, my brother has called me at least twice and said, I'm watching Winnie the Pooh on Saturday morning with one of my children, and fuck you.
It's funny how many times I think on our Facebook pages, other friends of ours who have kids will just randomly drop pictures of Winnie the Pooh or of the Disney princesses on our pages and just being like, I hate you now. I can no longer enjoy these things.
At this point, an oh bother, a tweet, a Facebook, an email, an oh bother warrants a discreet, dude, are you okay?
Yeah.
Text from it's almost become a code phrase among the crowd of something is wrong, not funny wrong, but like bad wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
So how did you get this first group together? Where you were all friends?
Yep. When I cast for chemistry.
Okay.
I think it is much easier to take
You're the
on
mastermind. This is Alan talking, and he's the mastermind.
It is more important to put a cast together that loves each other and wants to be interesting than it is to get the best professionals you can, or the best performers you can. We've got, let me think, the cast of Winnie the Pooh was a Ren Fair performer who works at the Apple store, someone at the time who rented musical instruments, an aide to a state senator, an unemployed stand-up comedian, a semi-employed actor, an app designer, a semi-employed Jill of all trades, and I'm missing, and a quality assurance tester from a stock firm.
And yet all of those, except for that last one, were, creative industries in a sense. Well, maybe
I got to say,
into the Senate.
I have been a professional actor now for quite some time. And I have worked with groups of people that were very talented and complete idiots. I have this group that Alan assembled, particularly that first cast, but really all of them, have been complete idiots.
And
but also some of the best professionals I've ever worked with. These cats show up, they do the work, and they give a damn about it. During that first show, one of our actors' wife left him.
Wow.
With their child.
Not technically because of the show.
Not because of the show, but
you would hope so.
Left
her
him,
child, his stepson.
Yeah, like the day of a performance.
Wow.
Via text.
He showed up.
Text.
He showed up. He did his job.
Took a shot at her in the monologue.
Yep.
And nobody knew. Nobody. Wow. Most of us didn't. You may have known Al, but certainly I didn't. Another one of the actors in that performance was undergoing crippling back pain. Never knew.
Crazy.
And I have seen actors drop out for a hangnail. It's just you have amazing friends, Al. You're a very lucky man.
That I do, and that I am.
So you're the casting mastermind. I mean, did a lot of these people not know each other before? Like Janet, did you know Bob before?
I didn't know Bob before. I never met Bob. I did. It was at...
We might have met at a party, but we didn't know each other.
But we didn't know each
for all
other.
Intents and purposes.
This has been a bonding experience,
Yeah.
like being in the Army for a lot of these people. And I've picked out very carefully people that I think as we've added to the rep company, when we did Cinderella, which was the third year, we did the roast of Cinderella, and we did an all-female cast, which meant I needed 4 or 5 new people. And I was very careful to grab people that wouldn't conflict with existing members of the company.
Yeah, more than that even. I think we only had 3 or 4 women who had done...
It gets more, you and Shelby and Shannon
and Gail
have done all of the shows.
Yeah,
all
the 3 of us
them.
have done all 4 shows.
Gail has done 3.
Right.
Right, and then then we had to add in 7 more women, and it was just like we had to.
But
find...
I thought that was an interesting.
How do you test out and make sure that they're cool?
What's that?
How do you test out and make sure that they're cool? I mean, were you casting for very specific parts, and then those people just ended up hanging around?
No, I would rather figure out who belongs and write correctly and write something for them. That works better for me because, again, chemistry is so much more important. I don't have time to deal with drama. I'm not interested in dealing with drama. Theater people. The price of talented theater people is talented theater people. And if I can go out and find weekend warriors that will come out and work harder and be excited about the opportunity than someone who says, well, yeah, I guess I'm not on stage that month, so I'll do this, but I'd really rather be doing Chekhov. Fuck them. I'd rather have somebody who thinks, this is awesome. This is the best month of the year. I can't wait for this.
You know, in a sense, you guys really define what Fringe is about in a certain sense because you do put veteran performers on stage with people who don't necessarily have a performance background. Am I being nice to the veteran performers? Bob has been an actor for years, damn it.
Yeah.
I can't work with these people. My God, folks, I'm a professional. I can't work like this.
I think that's really cool that you guys didn't even have a company together before Fringe started, 5 weeks before the first Fringe.
Before Fringe started. The month before Fringe started. I got a call out of the blue. He said, hey, Bob, how would you feel about being a blue Winnie the Pooh? Which
blue feeling.
I actually
blue is a comedy term. You work blue if you are.
Blue. Okay.
Yeah.
Blue material is
blue material. Yeah.
The 10 o'clock show is the blue show. The 8 o'clock show is the family.
Third meaning of blue.
Bob and I actually, I would say, ran into not quite. We didn't butt heads, but the first year, Bob was clearly expecting more direction and organization. Just I think out of your experience, I really like with the roast feel. There are two advantages to the roast format. One is that we don't all have to rehearse together. And when you're dealing with people who don't necessarily have all their same free time, Shelby has kids. Dennis has a job. Dennis is in the minority having a job. DeLuca has a job. Barb is from Seattle. And we were able to pull this all together when people can rehearse their monologues individually. And it's actually better. I prefer, that they be under-rehearsed rather than over-rehearsed because these are supposed to look a little rough. You're supposed to have a drink. You're supposed to have a cigarette. You're supposed to stumble over what you say. And the reaction, I would say the most important thing we have learned about doing these roasts, we learned it was the third show of the Roast of Santa, which was our second Fringe Festival. Mm-hmm. I was playing Jesus, who is a deranged former child star in the, Charlie Sheen mold, and is distraught that he's no longer receiving the kind of accolades and attention that he once did. But as people made fun of me, I was watching the audience and I realized I could control how funny they found the joke made at my expense by how hard I laughed. Normally you think of the comedian who is behind the mic as selling. In our case, it is the people who are the targets of the insults that control the audience's reaction.
It's so true. I think
it is fascinating. I could take them up by laughing harder. I could take them down by laughing less. And over the next few nights, and then when we did it again at 2 successive Christmases, we learned that I could laugh harder at the same joke or less hard at the same joke night to night, and the audience would laugh with me.
And Janet and Bobby both find that.
Absolutely.
Was that true for your characters as well? Like your characters specifically?
That's true in my life.
I honestly on stage.
Or just for Jesus? That just applied
to for me, my favorite.
And who were you, Janet, in the first in Santa?
Well, in Santa, I was Mrs. Claus.
Mrs. Claus, right?
Where that actually was the source of my favorite inspiration / stage direction was I got like a 4-word email from Alan that said, dust off your Edie McClurg. And literally that was like, okay, Edie McClurg, that's who Mrs. Claus is. And just went with that. But being on stage is so true. Like as far as being able to help direct the audience as to this is funny or this is not funny or how you're feeling about it.
This is funny and some of it is very much it's okay to laugh at
yes,
that.
exactly. Because there's
such
so
a big
many
thing
things.
in comedy.
If you know anything about our material.
Our material, like it's okay to laugh at a Columbine joke.
We did. And I know we're leaping all over the place here, but last year we did a musical. We did a backstage musical of, we were trying to break out of the roast format while saying, the
first 3 years were roasts.
The first 3 years were fictional character roasts. The roast of Piglet, the roast of Santa Claus, and the roast of Cinderella. Last year we moved to a musical. It was originally going to be the roast of Broadway or of a particular character if I could find one. But what happened when I started writing the musical was that it became parody songs about us. It became a musical about the miscreants themselves. So we called it the Roast of Alfred MacGuffin, which was never seen on stage, and it was the hour backstage during the show. I'm a big sucker for kicking down the fourth wall. Anytime you can break the fourth wall, that makes me happy. And we had last year, Vinnie in the front row for our fake volunteer to open the show by singing a loud apology about how stupid the Fringe Festival's acts by and large are.
Yeah,
And I did
I'll
not
play
tell
along.
Susie, who had to sing it, that Vinnie, the people who were in the know were staring at you, Your Eminence, the whole time to see if you enjoyed the song, and Susie didn't know who you were until we were done.
Give him the title of that song, Alan.
That was We're Sorry That the Fringe is Crap. It was
To the tune of.
it was the Surrey with the fringe on top. Chicks with dicks turning tricks is a story. Here it's its own damn category. Let me say once again that I'm sorry that the fringe
is crap.
Oh, the sorry always got me.
We had to go with the
Sorry.
Canadian
The
pronunciation, so
sorry,
it
the
wrong.
sorry
But you did, as I
Canadian.
recall,
Oh,
repay
God.
her by sexually assaulting her on stage a couple of nights later.
Right. Jeez. You get
Oh, your
roped-
miscreant
you get-
behavior,
you
Mr.
get-
President.
You get roped into this miscreant stuff, and then you're.
Well, that's the tequila talking.
It was the tequila kissing Susie.
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
No, you guys play. The last couple of years, the staff has definitely picked up to play with us. We've adopted Smyra Yon, who was our tech director for Santa, has done a couple of things with us and set us up with Gorilla Tango.
Yeah.
Theo Wigglesworth, who was a venue manager that year, has been on stage with us a couple of times.
Yeah.
We would have adopted Darcy McGill if she hadn't moved. We have roped everybody along with this tide.
Yeah, pretty much like once we see somebody enjoying themselves, and it's almost like just ask.
When
And
we
we're there.
find someone
So
we
you're-
can play with, we tend to collect them.
Yes.
So I have a future role in a show. That's
Absolutely. We pulled Valerie Hager onto stage this year. She'd left. She
Explain
had left
who Valerie Hager is.
She's the one who did the wonderful Naked in Alaska from last year's Fringe Festival. Now she's traveling all over
a
the world
story
doing
about-
this thing.
right.
Story about
Stripping.
having been a stripper in Alaska. Her show and Rebecca Kling's are the kind of thing that I really enjoy at the Fringe. I will say we make a lot of fun of the shows at the Fringe that are things like, here's my reminiscence of a road trip my grandpa took in 1925 in my imagination. And those, I have trouble getting behind that. Or, boy, it's hard to be, happy when you're thin and pretty. And have an eating disorder and people simulating cutting and all that
I know what
bullshit.
that's like.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, look at you, Vinny. Of
Thin,
course you
eating
understand the pain
disorder.
of being pretty.
Long.
We make
Eric
fun of
knows
those
too.
things, but then somebody comes along like Rebecca Kling, who this year's show I think is called Something New Vagina. Valerie Hager, who did Naked in Alaska, that's just wonderful and blows us away. And those people we try to adopt. I really wanted Rebecca to do Cinderella with us, but she had a slot that conflicted with ours. Valerie forgot her.
Take that in so many
So to
ways.
speak.
Valerie, you caught that.
Not at that point. Not at that point.
Valerie had forgotten her makeup downstairs at the gift theater last year, came in and said, do you mind if I sneak backstage and run down the stairs? And I said, I, who was about to go out on stage and sing a song, said, yes, I mind if you do that, but I don't mind if you come with me. So I picked her up, carried her out on stage, introduced her, kissed her, and sent her down to the basement after her makeup. That's the kind of thing that this is for. Those really blow us away, and we enjoy when we have the opportunity to lift somebody else's boat with our tide. I'm very happy to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoy that about you guys' show too, and I think that it generates a lot of good buzz around the festival. Like, if people know.
I think people
That
are
you're good
getting an
people and
idea
having-
of
having
us,
fun. They
and
wanna
they're
come.
starting to look for us more.
Right. As you pointed out, you acknowledge that we call ourselves the villains. Sherlock needs a Moriarty.
And I think, especially after that first year, because the first year when we went in, we had no idea what to expect.
Neither did they.
None. No, nobody did. And the thing is,
Yeah, neither
we
did
had
we.
this.
We were making up a festival. On
We basically had a show that was about homosexual animal rape. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's all about humping.
Piglet
animals.
was very much a one-note
And
show.
before every performance of the Roast of Piglet, the show before us was, and I will never forget this, it was Mulatto, Voices of the Disenfranchised.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's what I love about the Fringe too.
Riot.
So we were terrified about people who had come to see Mulatto, Voices of the Disenfranchised, and decided to stick around and say, hey, what's this Roast of Piglet all about? And it's like, and now for something completely different.
Right.
And so
First a touching piece on race relations, then fisting jokes for an hour.
exactly. And we were just terrified. We're in a room at Casa Aslan in Little Village. that had a mural on the wall of
Ku Klux Klan.
of the Ku Klux Klan and
Chicago police dressed
as the
Klan.
Ku Klux Klan and Border Patrol dressed as the KKK.
Gosh, that was a good.
beating.
I remember that.
I'm
mural.
talking,
People.
you want to talk funny?
That was
that
magical.
means the room just lit up.
And we were
You know,
sitting
a
there
dog rushed on stage at one point and took a poop on the middle of that stage.
Are you
Is that right?
serious?
At some point.
I would have
That's
been
awesome.
overjoyed if
I
we
caught
had
that.
That was
If only it
us.
happened during
Yeah,
our
we
show.
would have just.
Yeah, we would have embraced the dog and adopted it.
Actually, the dog is stealing our routine.
Yeah.
So, Alan, do you write all the pieces, every piece that is performed in the?
They've been
in the show?
collaborative. We've done some. I edit all of them and knit them into a show. This past show, we had a couple of writers from. My father did a guest piece. We've had other people write monologues. What we do is toss out to the sort of collection of writing options. Hey, who wants a swing at this? Who wants a swing at this? Anybody got ideas for this guy? Colin at one point came up with the idea that Eeyore should be Stephen Wright when we did Piglet. That was a lot of
perfect.
fun.
That was perfect.
I'm just wondering if you, if there are like designated writers within the company
Not really.
or in performers, or if
It's like the performers. The writers are who is appropriate to do this thing at this time, whatever it is we happen to be doing.
and through the
then-
rehearsal process,
I
we
oversee
actually-
it because I'm the one who's
we all
supposed to
have
do it, right.
input, and then again, there's Alan V, who tends to sort of start with what he's given and then just leaves. And
All
goes
of the shows
somewhere
are
else.
credited as written by the company, and then we'll identify
Yeah, 'cause we-
individuals who write specific things. But I try very hard. It's important to me that we don't identify. Okay, that joke was Rob Putnam's, and that
Right.
joke was written by my father, and that
Right.
joke was written by me, and that we just and that's the line Alan added, and that's the line Shannon added. We just try to pool it and say this is the end product. Here you go.
And then do you create rules for them, like within the roasting process? In other
Rules.
words, like,
Rules.
well,
Did,
I just
did
mean
that
this, like-
actually come out of his mouth?
there's always the danger when you have so many people on stage that it becomes chaotic, that it almost becomes
Yes.
too chaotic. If you had too many people who were vamping
Have you seen our shows?
or trying to be really funny, in a sense, that there would be almost too much cross-talk.
Yep.
And that could
we have
easily
tipped
derail
over
the whole
that
production.
occasionally in rehearsal, but this is where chemistry comes in because everybody on stage wants to make the rest of them look good. This is actually an idea we have borrowed, entertainingly enough, from the world of professional wrestling, in which the job of the guy who is getting beat up is to make the guy who is doing the beating up look good.
Right.
And there are guys who can go out and have a match with anyone and make them look unstoppable.
And it's really interesting being on stage and trying to push that forward and finding that delicate balance between making the person who's at the lectern funny and making sure that the audience is laughing at them versus drawing attention away from them. And it's a real, and I know I've tipped over in the other direction.
These guys have heard me
a
talk
few
about the
times.
difference between selling and upstaging
Right.
a million times.
And it's a really, really delicate balance. And I know balance. What was that? Balance. And I know I've tipped on the other side of that scale a couple times. But there are other times where you just can't help it because
Some
you're
people
just
need
going
more
to
and
town.
less too.
Yeah, that's true.
We've had less experienced performers who need help selling, who either can't sell the jokes themselves or tend to freeze up if the audience isn't laughing. So we'll crank up the selling for them. We'll pull it back down if it's somebody who is relying on, I hate to use the word nuance, but someone who is themselves selling with facial expressions. Sometimes I'm thinking here, one of my favorite things we've ever done is where staging and writing and performance all and the material all came together perfectly. So in the Roast of Santa Claus, we've got a bit from A Christmas Story with Ralphie Parker, the kid who wants the Red Ryder BB gun. And what happens is Ralphie gets up to tell his jokes, and then in between his jokes, you hear his internal monologue, which one of us does in the back with a microphone. So Ralphie will get up and say, Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here tonight. And the voice says, oh boy, this was my big chance. I was going to get a shot to be on stage. Look out, world, here comes Jack Benny. And everything just came together so beautifully. But what happens in this, and I'm not to give away too much in the way of spoilers, but Ralphie bombs and becomes deranged. This is where the Columbine joke comes in eventually. But in order to have Ralphie bomb, because some of the material is legitimately funny, and Don Fisher, who plays Ralphie when we do Santa, is reacting with such cartoon rage that the audience wants to laugh, and the other people up on the dais with him can hold that down, can control it by not laughing and by just like rolling their eyes and looking nervous. If they want to make Ralphie bomb, they will. I don't know if I'm not. I think everybody in this room is old enough to remember Michael Jordan being frozen out of the NBA All-Star game by the Pistons his first year, but the rest of us aren't. But you can do that. You can freeze out someone who's behind that lectern and make it not funny.
Absolutely, without question. And that's
I
one
like
of the
that.
fun
I like
things.
that it's layered. Yeah, it's a layered kind of.
That's why I
performance.
think for me, my favorite role in all of the shows, that like the one that's closest to my heart is Snow White from doing The Roast of Cinderella, because
Let me interrupt you before you tell this story because we have a clip from Snow White.
Oh, excellent. Let's do a clip
Vinnie,
from
Snow White is singing. You can Janet set us up.
it's one of the fun things about Snow White for me is not only is she kind of dim and she's just having fun with the whole thing, and she's basically just getting drunk off her ass on stage. As I had to drink, I have to say this, over 2 liters of Powerade within an hour on stage, every performance, which, man, let me tell you, that will really help your muscles.
Tell them why it was Powerade.
And it was Powerade because she was drinking Appletini. I had this ginormous bottle of Appletini that we actually did try to drink that tasted like battery acid.
Let me lift the curtain on this just a little bit. We have a rule on stage. You can have 1 drink on stage before you talk.
Okay.
Right.
After you talk, you may drink whatever. People always come and they say, what are you guys drinking on stage? Are you really going through all that? Sometimes. But you can't have...
But before your monologue.
Right. Before your monologue, it's the same rule. This is my rule as weddings. At weddings, if you are going to be around an open microphone, you can have 1 drink per hour until you have put down the microphone.
Oh, per hour.
After that, you may do whatever you
Well,
want.
since the shows are only an hour long,
Right.
But you can get up at 8 a.m. and drink all day for a 6 o'clock show. But you have to stay at a level where you're not going to get up there insensate.
Sure.
So
Go on. So you're setting up your clip.
So with Snow White is progressively getting drunk through the show. The character is. I was not, because if I drank 2 liters of Appletini, I would be vomiting on myself. Yes, and she also has.
I had to do a great voice and, get my voice up into my head and try to sound a little like Snow White. And then...
so which was hard on its own. And then Alan asked if I could sing in that voice. She's like, can you do When You Wish Upon a Star with different lyrics? And I was like, in Snow White's actual register? And he's like, well, just see what you can do. And so I'd started trying to rehearse it.
singing up here, but it's really, really hard for me because it's so much higher out of my range.
I was like, okay, I can't do that. How do I bust it in to actually be that other people besides dogs can hear it?
Sure.
So we figured out a way to do it, and this is what I wound up doing.
Sweet. And the title, is there a title for this song?
It's the Cinderella version of When You Wish Upon a Star.
When You Wish, or the Snow White version?
The Snow White version. Well, from the Roast of Cinderella.
From the Roast of Cinderella, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Hi, Cinderella. This is what we used to sing to you back in the day before your meal ticket came along. Okay, all right. When you...
When you meet her in a bar, it makes no difference who you are. Anything at any time, this girl will do. When Cindy's hammered on Jim Beam, no request is too extreme as to mouth or whips and pain, or one or two.
I love that song.
Bob, let's end on one more song from you. This was a song that was written for the Roast of Alfred MacGuffin.
Yeah.
We'll use it to play us out.
Thanks.
And so set up this song for us. This is to Old Man.
Yeah, this is I am the oldest member of the crew. I'm pretty certain by a fair amount. and Al wrote me a special song just so that we could capitalize on my age and infirmity. I am also not the lone non-drinker, but I rarely imbibe.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Simply doesn't agree with me.
Right.
So I spend a lot of
Got those
evenings.
probiotics there, Bob.
Yeah.
Probiotics.
I spend a lot of evenings watching the inebriation and just enjoying it.
Well, so do
this
we at
is-
the Fringe,
Yeah,
really.
you're a cigar and
good
taco
time.
man.
I'm a cigar and taco man, but there was a time when I was in competition to join the Olympic drinking team
Wow.
back in my college days, and
And in this song, you're sort of lamenting.
I'm
those-
lamenting, yes.
those
It
days
is-
and the
it is my
foolishness
lament.
around you.
yes.
Yes.
So anyway, the song is called.
Well, don't give away the punchline here.
Okay, well, the song is from one of the very first. In fact, I believe it is the very first American musical, Showboat.
Nice. Excellent. Well, we'll use that to play us out. I wanted to ask before we left, do you find that when you guys switched from the sort of roast style to this one where you're doing inside jokes about yourself, did you find that harder to connect with the audience on? Was that more difficult this last time around?
I did not, honestly, but
It was.
Why did you not find it, Bob? And then we'll get Janet's opinion.
it's the concept of the show terrified me because I have been told my entire life not to sing. And there's a really good reason for that.
I don't believe it.
Al found one song that is mostly in my register that I can sing. And for that, I owe you. And one day I will get even. But once I got comfortable with the song, I was okay. I have been a performer
You were more than
literally.
okay.
I have literally been a performer my entire life. I mean, from a tiny child. And for the most part, I simply don't get nervous on stage. I have been thrown into more situations as a performer than I can count, and we always adapt. You know, whatever group I'm with, we always adapt to whatever's around us, and we've always been able to do it and make it work. So I just don't generally get nervous.
Okay.
And exposing myself on stage is not especially a problem for me, as you know from sad experience.
See, on the other hand, I guess
I was referring specifically to the idea that you weren't going to play a character,
and
this time.
that scared
in
the living
a part, you know, that
hell
you
out
were
of me.
going
People were
to
playing
you were going to make
Yeah.
fun of yourself.
By
in a
and large,
sense.
the World Wrestling Federation version of ourselves. Jan.
And that was something that was absolutely terrifying to me because it's like, give me a character, tell me to be goofy or literally goofy, or
the roasted Mickey coming
there
up
we go.
next from
and for me, it's like, okay, here's a character. It's like, okay, with a costume and a goofy voice, and go and you do that. That's one thing. I don't find Janet, the person, to be funny. So going out there and trying to be me and being funny was the most petrifying concept I could possibly think of. And I struggled a lot.
So you're not going into stand-up. That's what you're telling me.
No, that's
stand-up
not for
career
me.
Janet.
No. And I struggled a lot. I struggled personally with it. I struggled as a performer with it. I had a really difficult time with this show. And the thing is, I look back, and every time I look back now and I watch it, and it is, I'm damn proud of what we did. And I think that honestly, what we pulled off with MacGuffin was nothing less than astounding, because to get a whole bunch of performers who aren't even professional performers for the most part and get them out there to do a damn musical that of original material, really, that we're like, please God, think we're funny. And it's being yourself. And it was really hard, but it was really rewarding, and I'm really glad we did it.
Sweet. We'll use that song to play us out. I want to thank you
MacGuffin,
guys.
let me give you one quick thought on
Sure.
MacGuffin too, because as long as we're all
Make it quick.
We're offering thoughts. It'll be very easy. But MacGuffin was our transition. I think we've probably done what we can do with the roast format. MacGuffin was a way to send a love letter back to what we had done already, while opening up the ability to do anything from here on out. So we've made that smooth transition. That was the whole goal.
Are we looking at Streetcar for this coming year?
That was going to be my next
Town.
question. That was going to be my next question, Alan. Alan's application, the Miscreants application, was we're going to do Our Town, or we're going to just drink until we puke.
I have an
Any ideas
idea.
coming up? Do you want to give us any hints?
No, the
next-
idea is coalescing, but I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger on it yet. I have an idea that I think is going to go very, very well, though.
And just so y'all know, we never know either.
And the
don't
people
know
in the
No,
cast
these guys don't
either.
know. I held on to last year before we handed out the MacGuffin scripts. Again, I was talking about keeping these quiet so that the jokes don't get old. I held on to the scripts until August 1st or something.
Yeah, it was.
Because I knew these guys could pick it up fast enough, but if I handed them out June 1st, everybody's going to be bored of the material by then.
Sure.
But I have a pretty solid idea what I'm going to do. I think we'll talk about what the options are a little earlier this year, but we're not going to nail down the material until much later in the process.
Well, Chicago Fringe 2014 kicks off August 28th. You can catch the League of Miscreants there doing their super secret show that you will not know about until it happens.
We won't know about it either.
And the rest of the cast won't know about it until it happens. But you should come and check it out anyway, because they are perennial favorites and one of the highest grossers. Congratulations from the festival.
Isn't that
year
why you
after
keep
year.
having us back?
You know you get all the money back.
I know it's not because we're nice people.
I don't know if Alan's told you this, but you get all the money back. So,
I know.
Whatever he's doing.
Actually, the last couple of years, do you remember, and maybe Eric and Luke out there in the booth can dig this one up, but do you remember the part in the Blues Brothers when he says, well, you boys made $200 and you drank
Like
$300 worth of beer? That's what's happened the
That
last
sums
couple
up
of
the
years, is
Miscreants.
that it's gone to rehearsal pizza and tequila.
Yep,
Fair enough. As long as you guys are having a good time, I imagine that's
Yeah.
what keeps you coming back.
Oh,
absolutely.
yes.
So come and join us at Fringe. I want to thank Alan, Bob, and Janet for coming out from the League of Miscreants. You guys are awesome.
And Shelby, who came in and recorded but couldn't stick around.
And Shelby, who came in and recorded. Well, but you guys are great. I hope you continue your success and continue your performing for the sake of performing, because I think that's freaking awesome. I want to thank our intern, Eric Somogyi, behind the booth making all this happen, and Columbia College and their advanced sound suite for giving us the space to make this happen. We'll see you next time on the Chicago Fringe Podcast.
Come here, you asshole. What the fuck is the show gonna be? Damn it! Tell me!
Eric, no!
Soon we all go out to Cuernavaca. That's where I sit while these youngsters drink. Out on that porch till we hit a strip club. One of these nights I will die, I think. Don't get up, just drink and sit. If you try to leave, they throw a fit. Take some Advil for your head, then eat and drink until you're dead. Let me go away from the Cuernavaca. Let me go rest while these youngsters play. Just let me sleep, for this run is over. Bob is too old for this shit these days. Oh, my liver, my poor old liver. I don't say nothing, but I must do something. They just keep drinking. They keep on drinking too long. I don't hate liquor, done my share of drinking, but I'm 57 and my hopes are sinking. And oh, my liver, it just won't hold out for long. The next night comes, and we go again. My head is aching, I'm racked with pain. Eat with Shannon, drink with Shell, smoke 2 cigars, and I feel like hell. I get weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of these kids, and I'm scared of dying. And oh, my liver, it just won't hold out for long.